We have a decision to make. What to do with Jane.
Not yet. There is one thing more. The other Archons did not lie. You died in this forest. And 30 years ago, you were given new life. Here in this grove.
And you were the one who carried me out of the forest, for Odo to find me. So it was you who restored me to life?
I carried you out of the forest, yes. But I didn't give you life. I have no power over the old gods, or their creations. It could only have been the creator gods, whatever was left of them, that called you back to life.
If they gave me new life, it was just after Jane destroyed the Legion. The forest was already becoming corrupt.
Perhaps the creator gods knew they were doomed, and they wanted you to destroy them, to undo Jane's mistake. We'll never know for sure. But if that's true, then you've honored them.
And Jane? What of her?
Remember what she did. Not only to my father, but to all the rest of the Legion too. It was her crime that started this.
I expect no mercy from the Legion. Do as you like.
Before I pass judgment on you, I want to know why you acted as you did. Honestly, and in your own words.
Why did I slaughter so many Legionnaires who had no part in killing my father, the king? I was young, full of anger. My father was dead by the Legion's hand. So I raised an army. I swore to avenge him myself, if I had to carve my way through every chapter house in Ebb. If the other Legionnaires had handed over Mont Baron, I would never have hunted them down. But they were so stubborn, so loyal to their chief. That was wrong of me. I should not have punished the whole Legion for Mont Baron's sin.
You're sorry for killing the Legionnaires, but not for killing Mont Baron.
No. I would kill him again. He murdered my father. And I don't care what his reasons were. You asked for honesty. There you have it.
You've told me why you destroyed the Legion, but why fight a war with the Queen?
I will answer your question with one of my own. Do you believe that Rosalind would make a stronger queen than me? My father was a king. My mother a chief among her people and chosen of her gods. I have made mistakes, yes, but I know how to lead. And Rosalind, she has the heart of a lamb. Would you trust the rebuilding of this kingdom to a sheltered little girl?
Rosalind is stronger than you think, and stubborn as well.
Stubborn? Yes, I suppose she must be, to stand against me for so long. But she is still young and untested. You may think that she is strong, but she has never ruled in her own right. Now you expect her to rebuild a kingdom, with only a few scattered Legionnaires to help her. I warn you, that will be an even greater challenge than defeating me.
The Mournweald was sacred to your people, and especially to your mother. Why would you confront the Legion here?
Mont Baron lured me to this place. Somehow, he knew what I was. And he knew that this forest was sacred to me. He believed that I would never dare to strike him down. Not in the presence of my mother's gods.
He was wrong. You used the power of the Mournweald against him.
Mont Baron was so arrogant. So sure that he'd outmaneuvered me. That smug look on his face. With no hint of remorse for what he'd done. That was what doomed him. Most of all. I will never understand why the forest allowed him to enter, when so many others were kept out.
Unless your gods meant to test you. Perhaps they wanted to know if your devotion to them was stronger than your rage.
I never thought of that. If that is true, then I failed them.
I have no more questions. I've made my decision.
And I am ready for your judgment. Though I know what it will be.
No, you won't die today. I promised Rosalind that I'd spare your life.
Little Queen Mouse. I owe my life to that cringing girl. That is a fine irony. Am I to be your prisoner, then? paraded through the streets in a gilded cage.
Atone for all the suffering you've caused. Help us to rebuild the kingdom.
You are not the Legion I remember. They were arrogant, and they would never have proposed such a thing. Very well. You have my promise. I will use what influence I have to help you heal this country. Let the war between us end.
By those words, Jane Cassander, you are bound to the Legion now.
It's over then.
For now, you deserve a rest. But it may be short-lived.
We need to build our strength and train more Legionnaires.
You will find many willing to join the Legion now. Even a few who might surprise you. And you will need them soon. The country is still divided, and the Legion has many old enemies who yet live. But you've shown yourself to be fair, as well as strong. Whatever happens, the people of Ebb will stand behind you.
Time to leave, I think. Odo and Martin must be waiting for news.
We part ways then. I will be watching, and one day, I will see you again.
You bid farewell to the Radiant Youth, and he sent you back to our chapter house in Stonebridge, where I awaited your return. In the weeks that followed, news spread of Jane Cassander's defeat. Her army scattered, giving us time to rest and regroup. Martin Guiscard returned safely from the Spire, along with Meister Wolf and the Automaton army. Only a few weeks later, elections were held in Stonebridge. Meister Wolf, who had been so public in his support of the Legion, almost won the office of mayor. But he was defeated in the end. Many people had wanted the dapper old gent to hang. They resented the fact that the Legion had spared his life, and they blamed poor Wolf. After the humiliating events in the Foundry, Meister Castle was forced to resign as Guildmaster of Ironmongers. The Cyclopses negotiated a new contract for higher wages, and with the help of Meister Fiddlewick, formed a new workers' union. For the first time in 100 years, they were permitted to leave the Foundry and spend their newfound wealth in the markets and taverns of Stonebridge. Cyclopses are becoming an increasingly common sight in Stonebridge, and many believe that they will eventually take their place as equal citizens of the town. Archambault du Payen, formerly known as the Dapper Old Gent, proved a valuable addition to the Legion. His knowledge of Legion magic allowed us to retake control of the Sentinels that had long guarded our chapter houses and estates. But the Gent couldn't leave our chapter house without drawing an angry mob. His confinement started to drive him mad. So he returned to his beloved causeways, beneath an endless sky, and he dwells there still. The following winter was a harsh one in the Rukenval, just as Lazar Basili feared. Without any trade from the south, the people of Raven's Rill went hungry, and many died. Among them were the widow Ludmilla, and Lazar's friend and scribe Grigori. When spring came, the dead were mourned, and Lazar's people did their best to carry on. In his last letter to me, Lazar added one other piece of news. Gunderic Manor has a new mistress, a witch called Leona. The manor has become a gathering place for scores of Lescanzi witches, many of whom are apparently quite beautiful. Lazar reports that the young men of Raven's Rill have also begun frequenting the manor, much to the irritation of their mothers and wives. Since the local men will not hear any talk of banishing the witches, it appears that Leona and her people have found a new home, which was perhaps what she intended from the start. Queen Rosalind abandoned Glitterdelve, embarking on a tour of all the cities and towns of the West, meeting as many of her subjects as she could. The Queen showed all the energy of youth, and I think she fully expects to reunite the country in a matter of months, not years. Reality may not be so kind as Lord Devonsey has tried to make her understand. In truth, the future of this country depends more upon what we decide. If she doesn't have the Legion behind her, the Queen is only a single voice, well-meaning though she might be. As for Devonsey himself, I think the man was impressed by your decision to spare Jane Cassander, as the Queen had asked. When he last visited Stonebridge, he spent a great deal of time in our chapter house. I believe he might actually be willing to rejoin our ranks, if we choose to accept him. Rajani and her sisters returned to Stonebridge, quietly and carefully disguised. Jane Cassander's defeat affected them deeply, though not in the way I expected. Their devotion to Jane was replaced by a deep admiration for you. I think they see in you the leader they should have followed all along, and they have lately expressed a desire to join our ranks. I maintain my suspicion of any Archon who once followed Jane, but I believe that redemption is not impossible, even for them. Jane Cassander was as good as her word, though I had my doubts at first. She returned to the cities and towns of the East and urged the people to end their war with the Legion and the Crown. Jane's repentance was heartfelt, and many were swayed by her words. But others have not been so compliant. The Church Synod in Bisselberg, who once called Jane a saint, have declared her apostate and threatened her life. Though Jane refuses bodyguards of any kind, Queen Rosalind fears for her life. And if anything befalls her, our gains in the East may yet be lost. As for the Legion, the rest of our story is yet to be told. We have a nation to reforge, a fellowship to rebuild, and old enemies who would see us destroyed. And we have questions to decide. Who will assume true power in Ebb if the nation is restored? And who will take the mantle of Grand Master? But these matters I leave for another chronicle, and another time. Whatever happens, know that you will not face the future alone. The Legion will stand by you, always.